Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today for the importance of vaginal health. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you all today. So we're going to jump right into it. I want to first thank Healthy Planet for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. I really, truly appreciate their support. They were one of the first companies in Canada to list my brand, Aeryon Wellness. So supporting a female-owned Canadian company is definitely, I appreciate them very much. So thank you so much, Healthy Planet, for having me. And also thank you to all of you for taking the time out of your day. I know time is our most valuable possession, so I appreciate you spending some time with me tonight. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible, give you as much information as possible, so then you can go about your evening with your friends and family. So a little bit about me. My name is Ashlie. I am the CEO and founder of Aeryon Wellness Support Supplements. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist, a registered holistic nutritional counselor, an ISSA trainer and eating disorder recovery coach, and also a CBT practitioner. In 2020 and 2021, I was a top 100 health and wellness influencer. I have a #1 best-selling book on Amazon called Bulimia to Balance. I have 4 fast-paced mom cookbooks with my daughter, Michaela. And for about 3 years out here, I had a radio show as well. So a little bit about my journey. I struggled with bulimia, and I also struggled with eating disorders for about 25 years of my life. I also was a fitness competitor, and I had my aha moment probably about, 11 years ago. And what happened in that moment, I'll tell you very quickly, was I had gone to purge again. I really struggled with trying to get my bulimia under control. And in that moment, there was a knock at the door, and it was my daughter. And I realized as I looked in the mirror, if I didn't get a hold of this relationship with food and my body and health and wellness as a whole, that this too could possibly be her journey. And that really was my catalyst to start my journey to live a healthier, better life, not only for myself, but as an example to my daughter. And so we really created these 5 pillars I'm going to go over next around health and wellness that I've used to have sustainable health and wellness. And when I kind of came out the other side, I didn't find supplements on the market that really worked for me or appealed to me. And the messaging didn't work for me either. And so that's when we started Aeryon Wellness. So Aeryon Wellness is a female-focused supplement company, and we use our QR code technology to educate women to take care of their bodies on a whole. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the 5 pillars of holistic health are the thoughts you think, the friends you keep, your daily movement, nutrition, and then supplementation. And it's really important that we have all these working together as a whole, looking at all these different 5 pillars in which to have sustainable health and wellness, because it's not just eating, and it's not just thinking positive thoughts. It's not just working out, and not just having good friends. It's all of it together. And how do we really live the best life possible? And I believe if we can apply some tips and tools and strategies, we can actually do that. So I'm going to today, in today's webinar, is really try to use these pillars of holistic health in my messaging in the importance of vagina. Vagina. So the word of the day is vagina. And if we were all together, I'd probably get you to yell it out. So we do a 1, 2, 3, vagina. But the word of the day today is vagina. So we're going to do a little bit of myth busting here before we get started. So I'm going to open the chat up, and I'm going to ask the first question. You guys can tell me what you think, yes or no. So first questions: vaginas should always be fruity and smell pleasant. Anybody? False. Right. Yay. Okay, good. We're all on the same page there. Love that. Wonderful. Next one. Okay. Vagina discharge is always unhealthy. Right. Good. All right, there we go. You should clean your vagina with douches and fragrance cleansers. No. Very good, very good, very good. Eating pineapple will make your vagina sweeter. No, I actually thought that for a long time. Years ago, I thought that. Then I was like, no, that just makes sense. The more sex you have, the looser your vagina will become. No, it does not. It can relax a little bit with kids, so it can relax a little bit, but it doesn't become looser. And the vagina is complicated, confusing, tricky to navigate. It's not. And hopefully with my conversation tonight, I'll be able to shed a little bit of light on that for you all. And well, okay, there we go. Well, hopefully tonight, then I'll be able to shed a little bit of light on that. We can really kind of understand a little bit more about the importance of vaginal health, and also a little bit more about our vaginas. So the topics of discussion today are vagina health, meet the vagina, vaginal immunity, mucus barrier, vaginal flora, vaginal pH, unbalanced vaginal pH, some factors, solutions, and then we're going to dig into a little bit of supplements, and then we're going to have a Q&A in the end. So if I can get you to hold your questions and questions, not answers, because I'd be doing the answering, hold your questions to the end of the conversation, maybe write a note, because I try to keep the chat not open so I can just have flow. Otherwise I kind of get sidetracked and then I'll go down a rabbit hole and talk about so many other things. So there we go, let's get started. So what is vaginal health? So vaginal health is an important part of women's overall health. I think we can all agree with that one. I think if I had that in the hand chat, yes, that we'd all say yes to that one. And it can affect, problems can affect fertility, desire for sex, and ability to reach orgasm. And ongoing health issues can cause stress or relationship stress and also affect self-confidence. I know I myself, and I'll share a little bit of my story later on, really had issues for a while there. And this is one of the reasons why this conversation is important to me. So first, we're going to really get into it. So the external feminine genitalia. So the vulva is the lady parts between your legs, visible from the outside. And I know I've had some people not sure what the vulva actually is. So we're going to get into that. Is the outer part of the female genitalia. So the clitoris, I think we all know what that one is for pleasure. And hopefully we've had the great lucky fortune of experiencing a lot of pleasure with that one. The labia is the inner and outer folds. Those are the skin, right? So you have the labia majora and the labia minora. Then we have the urethra where urine exits. And then we have the vagina, of course, where period and discharge and babies come from. So the internal female genitalia, that is composed of the upper, there's two parts. So there's upper and lower reproductive tract. And so the upper tract has the fallopian tubes, the uterus, the endocervix, and the lower tract has the ectocervix and the vaginal tract. So this female reproductive tract it's a very complex ecosystem, and it actually is where it houses immune cells, hormones, and microorganisms, and that's where they all interact. So we're going to talk about immune health for a second. And a lot of time people think immune health would be more so for, your colds, your fever, that's kind of thing, but it actually is an important part of our actual vaginal health too. So there's two types of immune health we're going to kind of be looking at here. We have innate immunity, and everybody is born with innate immunity. So it's kind of our skin, right? Our skin protection. We talked about the labia, that'd be kind of innate immunity. The skin acts as a barrier to block germs from entering the body. Then we have adaptive immunity, and adaptive is developed through our lives. So whether it be we have the antibodies from illnesses, or we're immunized and we have vaccines. So those are the two different types of immunity. And what a lot of people don't know about is there is a vaginal immunity system, right? And it represents the first line of defense against foreign organisms and pathogens and microbes. And so it comes through skin, mucous membranes, secretions of skins, and then we're also going to be looking at the second line as well. So through this major components, a natural balance is maintained and disease is averted. So the first one we're going to look at is mucosa. So mucosa is the moist inner linings of some of the organs and body cavities that we currently have in our bodies. And it's composed as epithelium cells and connective tissue. So the female genitalia tract, the FGT mucosa, is really critically important because it hosts the immune defense against microbes. And this unique mucosal tissue maintains a delicate balance between inducing protection between external pathogens and while providing optimum conditions for reproduction. The next one is cervical mucus. And if you look at this picture here, it's actually quite beautiful. That's actually cervical mucus underneath a microscope. So it's quite pretty, I think. I like to think so. So this lines the cervix, the vagina, and the vulva, and this creates a protective barrier between the body and the environment. And it plays a major role against pathogens. And it helps the sperm also reach the reproductive tract, and it even signals disease and pregnancy issue. And it also fosters healthy vaginal flora, which is the next slide, vaginal flora. So I'm sure we're all kind of familiar with vaginal flora. So vaginal microbiome or vaginal flora is a fancy way of describing those millions of bacteria that live in our vaginal canal. And a lot of the time, some people might think bacteria is a bad thing. And we think we've all probably heard about good gut bacteria and all that kind of stuff. That bacteria actually is a good thing because it wards off infections and pathogens. So the role of vaginal microbiome is it shields against microbes. It produces antimicrobial substances. It stimulates the immune system, protects the integrity of the mucosa, which we talked about earlier. It favors the secretion of mucus, so that cervix mucus we spoke about, and maintains a protective acidic pH. The vaginal microbiome, there's two different, so there's vaginal eubosis and vaginal dysbiosis. So vaginal eubiosis is characterized by when we have abundance of the good lactobacilli in our vaginal canal. And so this secretes lactic acid and hydrogen peroxide and gives it that pH acidic balance. So we're about 99% lactobacillus. Then we have the Lactobacillus crispatus, Lactobacillus jenseni, and Lactobacillus gasseri. So vaginal dysbiosis is when there is a characterized overgrowth of multiple anaerobids that are associated with increased risk of adverse urogenitalia and reproductive health outcomes. Sorry, I'm twisting my tongue there. So basically dysbiosis means we don't have enough of the lactobacilli in there, right? We really want to make sure that we have enough of the lactobacilli that produces that strong pH. So then we have more balance in our vaginal canal. There we go. So a balanced vaginal pH. So if we look at the slide here, estrogen is a really big part of that as well. So we have the estrogen, and that produces with lactic acid, glycogen, and that produces a pH between 3.8 to 4.5, which is the pH levels you want to make sure that you have. This also promotes further growth of lactobacilli as well, and it inhibits any pathogen or bacteria from coming in. So a normal and healthy vaginal ecosystem is maintained by lactobacilli that secrete lactic acid and hydrogen peroxide, resulting in a vaginal pH of 4.5. And this protects against the overgrowth of anaerobes that thrive in an alkaline environment. So we do not want our vaginal area to be alkaline. We want to be more acidic. A lot of the time we think about health and wellness, we think we want to be more alkaline because there's acid and alkaline. We're always taught we want to be more alkaline all the time. But in this area, we want to make sure we're more acidic. So what is pH? Now, for those of you who don't know what pH is, pH measures the acidity of acid and alkaline. So if you look at something like lemon juice work versus liquid soap, right? So you look at those two things from a 0 to a 7 acids, with 0 being the strongest. So where we want to be is we want to be as we saw on that slide before, like a 3.8 to a 4.5 is where you want to be. And that's the vaginal and vulval canal. And anything above that can actually cause for more bacteria to grow. Where we go here, sorry. So as I said, between a 4 to 4.5, 3.8 to a 4.5. So the lower and more acidic the vaginal canal is, it protects the vaginal mucosa and also against pathogen and pathogenic organisms. So does anybody here know, and maybe somebody would know, but do you know why? Does anybody experience your underwear being bleached? Does anybody know why that would be happening? Anybody know? I wondered that for a long, it was funny, I wondered that. So it's the pH levels. So technically our acidity in our vaginal canal is almost like I don't want to say a bleach because it's not a bleach, but it actually bleaches out the color of your underwear. So it's actually perfectly natural for that to happen. And so that's one of the reasons your knickers are bleached, is because you have a very acidic vagina, which is what you want to have. That's when it's really healthy, is when you have that nice acidic vagina. So an unbalanced vaginal pH will lead to vaginal infections such as yeast infections and bacterial vaginosis. And 75% of women will experience one yeast infection in their lifetime. I know I have. I'm not sure if anybody else here has. And they're very, very common. Actually, 1 in 3 will experience bacterial vaginosis. And believe it or not, bacterial vaginosis is one of the most common reasons women go to the gynecologist or to a doctor for vaginal issues, is bacterial vaginosis. Where's my thing here? There we go. So yeast infections versus bacterial vaginosis. So what is the difference? So a lot of the time they can feel very similar, because a lot of the time the symptoms seem very similar. But when we look here, some of the big differences are unpleasant odor. So bacterial vaginosis, you have that fish-like odor. Yeast infection, there's no odor. Yeast infections, however, though, you're itchy and you're irritated. And bacterial vaginosis, you're not itchy or irritated. There's a thin, watery, gray-white discharge with bacterial vaginosis, and yeast infections is more that cottage cheesy discharge. And there's soreness when it comes to yeast infection. There's no soreness when it comes to bacterial vaginosis. And bacterial vaginosis is caused by bacteria, and yeast infections are caused by yeast, but both of them are a result from not having a high enough pH in your vaginal, in your vagina. That's why it's really important that we have that high pH, that low pH, 3.5, but very acidic. I guess that was what I meant to say, right? So it's really important that we keep that in balance. So some of the factors that can lead to yeast infections are antibiotic use. Antibiotics can kill our healthy bacteria. So that's why it's really important if you're taking antibiotics to make sure you're taking a good probiotic to support your body, be it for gut health and also, of course, for vaginal health as well. Estrogen. So if you have high levels of estrogen, that can actually lead to candida and to overgrowth. Estrogen being the fact that it's one of the main reasons, one of it helps with creating the microbiome in the vagina and also the pH levels. It's really important that a lot of women, when they hit menopause, they'll notice a difference too, because all of a sudden their estrogen levels have changed. So they're going to find a difference there in often their vaginal area. So douching can also upset the natural balance as well. And then sugar, because yeast feeds off sugar. So it's really important to make sure that we are not douching and using those harsh chemicals. And that we're also really watching our sugar intake if you're finding something that you are struggling with yeast infections. So bacterial vaginosis, stress is actually one of the things, right? And studies have shown that excessive exposure to psychological stress, psychosocial stress, it actually can increase bacterial vaginosis. Another one is male sperm. So male sperm is very alkaline. And because we are very acidic, our pH levels are supposed to be very acidic. When we have sex with our partners, especially obviously unprotected sex, our bodies, because we're amazing and magical, our bodies will naturally will become more alkaline to protect the sperm for us to get pregnant, for our bodies to do its job. And what often ends up happening is our body can't get back down to that 3.8 or 4 level. And that can lead to bacterial vaginosis, right? So it's really important that we keep it in an acidic state. Sex toys, not cleaning your sex toys properly or sharing your sex toys. I don't know how many people are sharing sex toys, but if you are, make sure you clean them. And then obviously too, wiping front to back, right? A lot of people, you don't want to wipe from the anus up, you want to wipe front to back. So here are some solutions we're going to talk about tonight that can help you. So microbiome and digestive health. So all disease begins in the gut. And so making sure that we really are taking care of our microbiome, making sure that we're supporting not only our gut health, but obviously then it will translate into our vaginal microbiome is really important. So making sure we absorb our nutrients, which help our hormones and eliminate ones that we don't have. You know, if we look, we're outnumbered by bacteria to human cells 10 to 1. And what's really fascinating is that genetically, we're all 10% the same. I think it's 10%. No, genetically, we're all 90% the same. Sorry, backwards. 90% the same. But actually, when it comes to our bacteria, our microbiome, we're only 10% similar. So we're all very unique. Our microbiome is a really important part of our health and wellness and needs to also be taken care of with making sure we're supporting ourselves with proper foods. So poor gut health can lead to excess estrogen because your body is not eliminating properly. Digestive issues such as bloating, gas, and constipation, PMS, brain fog, higher risk of breast cancer, and harmful estrogen metabolites, because as I said, your body's not able to eliminate those excess estrogen in your system, and also mood imbalances, to name a few. Now, it's really important we support gut and vaginal health. And so making sure that we're eating those fiber-rich foods with a variety of micronutrients, those fermented foods like sauerkraut and kimchi, bone broth is another really great one. And then we can supplement as well with glutamine, zinc, omega-3s, and NAC is also a great supplement too. And also looking at some of the other issues too, getting maybe if you do find that you are really having a lot of yeast infections, if you do find that your gut health is really off, looking at GI map testing, SIBO breath tests, and H. pylori screening as well. So really looking and investigating, taking some tests to make sure and find out what's going on. So looking at some of the inflammatory foods, eliminate some inflammatory foods from your diet if you find you do struggle with yeast infections. So high processed foods and oils, and even trying a 21-day elimination diet. You know, there's some really great elimination diets on the market that you can look at. Looking at digestive resources and absorption of nutrients. So chewing your food well, I can definitely attest to a lot of the time I'll finish my meal and I'll kind of forget what I even ate. HCl, digestive enzymes. There's some great digestive enzymes on the market. Prairie Naturals has a really great one that I like called Digest Force. Also prokinetics, which would be like gingers and bitters, and then also reducing stress too. And then support your microbiome diversity and health with probiotics, fermented foods, as we talked about a second ago, avoiding those pesticides, and really having diversity of produce in your day-to-day life and in day-to-day food. Getting a high quality probiotic I'm a big probiotic fan. And so making sure you're having a high probiotic and eating rich prebiotic foods. Then you're supporting those little bugs to do their job. So things like rotating your produce, eating good animal quality protein, or eating a good protein source if you don't eat animal protein. Eggs and bone broth is another one. Supporting the intestinal line, the lining of the intestinal. We also talked about this with NAC as well, apples and prebiotics, and supporting motility with ginger and prokinetics, and then also supporting absorption and digestion with digestive enzymes and HCl. So now we're going to touch base on a little bit of supplements that we have that can really help as well if you're experiencing bacterial vaginosis, or if you're also experiencing yeast infections. So this past week, we launched a new product called Up and Away. It's Canada's first 100 boric acid vaginal suppository. We actually just won Innovative Product of the Year at the CHFA, which was last weekend, which is really incredible. We won a contest called Launchpad. So boric acid possesses antiviral, antibacterial, and antifungal properties, and it does improve symptoms such as burning, itching, abnormal discharge, and odor, and it can be resolved often with just one use. And I'll tell you my story. I had regular issues with bacterial vaginosis for a number of years, and I was on constant antibiotics. I've been in this industry for a very long time, and I knew these were horrible for me, and I just couldn't seem to get it fixed or working. And I went in and saw my gynecologist, and I spoke to her, and she was like, you need to take boric acid. And after, I think, 1 or 2 uses, it was gone. And I didn't have it for quite some time after that. And so this is one of the reasons I wanted to bring this product to the market. So it was readily available for women everywhere as a solution to this, because what boric acid does is it brings the vaginal area right back down to that acidic state. So if you are having sex with your partner and you're having unprotected sex, and you do have that afterwards, you find that little bit of an offness that happens, you can use one of these, and that's going to bring it right down to the acidic level. And what boric acid is, in this, you get 600 milligrams veggie capsule of boric acid. We've used a veggie capsule over gelatin capsule, so then everybody can use it. But it comes in a little kit like this. You get a little applicator, a 14-day supply, and it's really, really easy to use. You just put it up and it goes away. So it's nice and simple. Put the pill in the applicator, put it in the vagina, put it in before you go to bed, use a light panty liner, and the next day, usually things are pretty kind of back to normal. The maximum you can use it is up to 14 days for this product. The next thing we also created was testing strips. So if you are somebody who wants to test yourself and find out if you're bacterial vaginosis or if you're yeast infections, because it's about a 5 range difference. So when you've hit the 5 and up, if you're going up 5 to 6, you're going higher, more alkaline, that means you're more tendency to more bacterial vaginosis. And if you're about 4.5, that's more of a yeast infection. Now, most of us can know the signs between the two. We know if there's cottage cheesy, we know if it's the smell, we know what's going on. And so, but if you really want to test, they're really super simple. They're like little strips. You just take one out and like that. And you just take a cotton swab, you wipe it on the end with a vaginal juice. And then if it changes color, and I'll show you, because your mouth is alkaline, you'll see here, it changes color, right? Because my mouth is more alkaline. You don't want your vagina to be this color. That's when you're going to want to use one of the boric acids, right? Really simple, really easy to use. So those are some of the testing strips we've come out with as well. So those are those two. That's the one product that we've used. And we also talked about how the fact that if you are estrogen dominant, that it can be one of the reasons that you're experiencing reoccurring bacterial vaginosis or reoccurring yeast infections. And so we also have Reclaim. Reclaim is our day-to-day hormonal support product. I shouldn't have a favorite child within my brand, but this is definitely my favorite child. I'm going through perimenopause right now. And what I have noticed recently is I have more issues with bacterial vaginosis. And that is obviously because I'm having fluctuations of estrogen going on. And with those fluctuations of estrogen going on, it's affecting my vaginal microbiome, it's affecting my pH levels. And so in that, I can just use the quickly boric acid, but I also use Reclaim on a day-to-day use. It's a 1 a day. It supports healthy estrogen detoxification. So it actually helps flush out any excess estrogen metabolites in your system. It boosts mood because we have St. John's wort in there. It helps detox and help your cycle become regular again. I was I can be very spotty right now. And right now it really brings it back to that 21-day count that we're looking for. It has immune support in there with zinc and astragalus and liver support. And I'll go through the ingredients really super fast on this one. So we have calcium diglucarate that supports stage 2 liver detoxification. We have green tea extract in there that helps with blood sugar regulation and also liver health. Then we have broccoli sulforaphane as well, which is an antimicrobial, anti-aging, and neuroprotective. We have DIM in there that helps promote good estrogen over bad estrogen. Then we have St. John's wort, which is a really powerful antidepressant. It's a 4-to-1 clinical dose extract. We have chaste tree that balances estrogen to progesterone. We have white yam that helps with PMS and also helps with DHEA and testosterone. Astragalus, which helps with immune boosting, and then zinc as well. So if you look at any product on the market, this is the most comprehensive one I can definitely attest to. And I just do one a day of Reclaim, and it's made all the difference in the world for me as well. So if you're looking for a hormone balancing product, if you're finding that you're really struggling with yeast infections and bacterial vaginosis, first off, of course, make sure you're getting some healthy probiotics and prebiotics within your diet. But then also too, you can look at having supplementation that's going to support you on the way. And one of the things we also spoke about with bacterial vaginosis was stress. So I'm just going to cover quickly our stress support product, which helps support adrenal health, helps reduce stress. It helps boost cognition, energy, and focus, enhances mood, and supports overall hormonal harmony. So Restore has Chinese hawthorn in it. There's a 2018 study on stress-induced depression, and it also helps with mood as well. So we have the Chinese hawthorn in there. We have KSM 66 ashwagandha. So that's the highest form of ashwagandha you can get. It's the root. So it has the withamitholin. So it's a 5%. So it's more bioavailable. Then we have Bacopa, which is a cognitive support product. So when you have that 3 o'clock energy crash, that's going to really help keep you clear and focused. Astragalus for immune health. We know that when you're stressed, your immune health is suppressed. Shashandra for energy and stamina, and then B5 as well. So those are some of the supplements I would look at if I'm going to be looking at for bacterial vaginosis and also for yeast infections. But what I will say is we've also taken things a little bit step further. I talked about the 5 pillars of Aeryon Wellness earlier in the talk. And when I designed these products, I knew that there's so much more than just taking supplements. I knew that there had to be a way in which to help educate and help women make the changes so they could have long-lasting health and wellness. So every single product, when you scan it, they all have their own different QR codes. Each QR code has 2 free meal planners, vegan and non. So we have a hormone balancing one in Reclaim. We have a Candina menu planner in Up and Away. And we also have with Restore, we have a stress support QR code menu planner. So we also go for snooze, we have magnesium rich recipes, supportive recipes. We also talk about in Restore, we talk about the 4 different cycles of a woman's cycle, lutein, follicular. We go through all of that, different tips and strategies to help support you on your wellness journey. So it's not just buy a product. It's really like, here's some support we can give you to help you finding sustainable health and wellness. This last December, I was actually on Dragon's Den. So if you Google Aeryon Wellness and Dragon's Den, you will see my pitches to CBC Dragon's Den. I had 3 offers and I accepted one with Arlene Dickinson. So that was really exciting. This is how I got on the show, was using this QR code technology because I'm the first one in Canada to use it. So now I'm going to open it up to questions. It's kind of a quick one today. I think I went through that fairly fast, but then everybody can kind of get back to their life. So I'm going to scroll back here a bit. Okay, here we go. Boric acid, yes. Okay, so the first question is, what might the yellowish discharge, not sexually active and negative for BV? The pH could be off. I would, and this is from Nikki, I would obviously look at, so pH levels, and then you can also look at a good probiotic. There are vaginal probiotics you can insert. I'm actually looking at getting a vaginal probiotic that you can swallow that is actually enteric-coated and protected, so it actually will make its way down there as well. So you could look at that too. And you can even go in and talk to your doctor as well. So lichen sclerosa, I actually don't know what lichen sclerosa vulva, that's beyond my, I'm not sure what that is, Diane, I'm so sorry. I could look it up and I could see, but I'm not sure what that one is, the lichen sclerosis vulva. Sorry about that one. Yes, boric acid is great after menstruation and intercourse because of course blood is alkaline. So when of course you're more alkaline, then of course you're going to obviously not be as acidic. Oh, that's wonderful, Rita. Or Diane. I don't know, Diane, if you saw that, but Rita has a information and caring support group. That's absolutely amazing. I love that, Rita. Thank you for saying that. That's great. That's wonderful. Yay, that's amazing. You can take or claim after menopause. We're actually working on a menopause product right now. I actually have it through a trial study right now. So I've decided to, because menopause is, it's not a tough subject, but I want to make sure the product actually really works. So we have a really amazing formula we've worked on. And so what we're going to be doing is we're putting it through a testing stage. So we have some women who are going to be taking it and seeing how they really respond to it, what they think about it before we go through the process of creating it. And if it doesn't work, then we're going to go back to the drawing board again. Thinning and drying of the vagina after menopause. You really want to find yourself a good natural lube. I know that that's something I'm also going to be looking at too, is vaginal atrophy, a product for that, a support product for that in the next coming years. Because I do know that's something that needs to be talked about and needs to be demystified and needs to be addressed as well. But I definitely would look at making sure you have a really natural lubricant. We will be launching a lubricant, an all-natural lubricant with the menopause product, and really creating a conversation of normalcy around that too. Can you use ashwagandha if breastfeeding? With our products, we actually tell all women, and this is Health Canada as well, that you should not be using supplementation until you're done breastfeeding. Let's see here. Does bacterial vaginosis cause UTIs? No, it does not. From what I understand, it does not cause UTIs. UTIs are a different thing than bacterial vaginosis, because bacterial vaginosis is more with the vagina. UTIs is more from the uterine, sorry, I can't think of the word right now, sorry. So yeah, but it's not. After menopause, my vagina MERS, after getting a PAP. I would talk to your doctor about that. Talk to your gynecologist about that. I would really tell him how you're feeling. If your vagina burns after getting a pap smear, maybe it's the lubricant he's using when he's doing that. Maybe bring your own natural lubricant, because maybe you're just more sensitive now too, right? Lichen sclerosis inflammation treatments. Well, I'm definitely going to write this down, and I'm going to look this up. If you want to send me your, Rita, if you want to send me your email in the chat, in the Q&A, I'll take your email address and I'll look into this, and I'll get back to you on the lichen, I want to make sure I'm saying that right, sclerosis information. I'll go back. I have an educator I work with as well, and we'll get back to you with an email on some information on that. Dryness after menopause definitely would be an all-natural lube. That's definitely something I would definitely say. Natural diuretics how effective are natural diuretics versus prescribed medications? Well, it's really hard to compare the two. They're going to be very different. They're obviously going to be very different. I use Water Be Gone, which is our natural diuretic. And when I did fitness competitions back in the day, I did use diuretics, prescribed diuretics, and it definitely is a difference. So the natural diet, it just depends on what you're really taking the natural diuretics or the prescribed diuretics for. Hot tub help. So you mean you're getting bacterial vaginosis with in the hot tub? Is that kind of what we're saying, Erin? I get you to do that. When do you have to check your vaginal pH? You can check it whenever you want, actually, to be honest with you. I'll tell you a cute little story. My 13-year-old went to check it, went to the bathroom, checked this. And she's like, Mom, she goes, they don't work. She goes, because the color didn't change. And I'm like, well, babe, that's actually what you want, because when you're acidic, I don't know if you guys can see this, but when you're acidic, it's quite yellow. So I was like, no, it's good. You want to be that way, sweetie. Well, I have 31 new messages here. Do you find vaginal dryness with perimenopause can be treated with any of your products? Not yet, but as I said, I will be launching a vaginal lubricant as well. Oh, this is great. I'm launching a vaginal lubricant because a lot of people are experiencing vaginal dryness post-menopause. And that might even be something to look at for a supplement. So that's something I maybe should look at that. How to reach an orgasm more frequently. Can that be caused by something? Ooh, orgasms. Well, I don't know. I always find when I did have a partner, I don't have a partner right now, but when he made me really happy by helping out around the house, that always made me happy too, if he knew what he was doing. So, orgasms are such a different topic. I might have to look at having a webinar on orgasms one day. So dry vaginal tissue after menopause. Okay. So yes, there you go. I would like to know about that, Rita. You guys can maybe go in the Q&A. Actually, you know what, Diane and Rita, if you go in the Q&A and you guys both put your email address, I will write those down and I can connect you to if you can't connect here. Okay, so when I eat too much of something over a period of time, one of the outer lips, the vulva swells up like a little ball. And if I stop eating, it goes away. I would say you probably might have an allergy to it, to be honest with you. That would kind of seem what would make sense to me. I prefer a topical. I would get a nice, an all natural lube. There's some all natural lubes. I believe Healthy Planet would have some. So I would go in there and look for them, and then stay tuned for when we're going to be having ours too. The hysterectomy 2 years ago in the gynecologist VagiFem, 2 weeks of life for vaginal health. I'm not sure about that one because you've had a hysterectomy, so that's beyond what I know. And if your gynecologist recommended you something, I think I'd want you to probably stick with what they're telling you. How does vaginal wellness affect getting pregnant? It is very important to have vaginal wellness to get pregnant. You want to make sure that your pH level is very acidic. You want to make sure your vaginal microbiome is under good health. What vaginal step for overall vaginal health with no particular issues with yeast infections, but overall challenges with poor gut health. So I definitely would look into getting a digestive enzyme. Digest Force by Prairie Naturals has a wonderful digestive enzyme that I use, and also looking at getting a really good probiotic. There's some fantastic probiotics on the market, and I'm currently looking at doing a probiotic in the future as well. Any interactions with thyroid medication? Not that I know of, but I would check with your doctor. Is it okay to take Reclaim and Restore together? Yes, it is. I have taken them together as well. Jill, also too, maybe put your name in the Q&A if you would like to look at that LS, and I can also send you an email and maybe connect all of you. Oh, interesting. Stop getting yeast infections after you stop wearing underwear. That's interesting. No, I've never heard that one, but you could be sensitive to it, which would make sense. Oh, UTI. Okay. I need help as I enter menopause, dryness. I would, as I said before, I would probably get yourself a really nice all natural lubricant as well. Here's another lady who would like information too. Okay. So what I will say with Reclaim, if you compare the ingredients of Reclaim, we have clinical doses of everything in there. So if you are looking for something that's a 1 a day for hormonal health, this is, I mean, I'm not just saying it because I could be biased, but I really truly believe it's one of the best on the market. I have a lot of naturopathic doctors that actually prescribe this to the client. Every person I've seen who's looked at the ingredient panel and compared it to some of the leading ones in the market is blown away. So it's a fantastic product. I don't know about any supplements that can help prevent HPV currently. No, I don't. Vaginal dryness. Okay. For vaginal dryness after yeast infection, I definitely would get a lubricant as well. There you go. And now she has a natural lubricant there. It inserts once a weakness, and that's called Gynatrof. This is what Lenore says. Thank you, Lenore, for sharing that. Does taking a bubble bath change the pH levels? It shouldn't. If you were in baking soda, like if you have really high pH levels, one way of bringing that down is to actually bathe in baking soda. But I wouldn't think bubble bath was, unless I would probably stick to more of a natural version. I know actually Prairie Naturals is coming out with an all natural bubble bath. So keep your eye open for that. I probably would be a little more leery to have bubble baths and really chemically bubble bath stuff. Are your supplements for perimenopause or somebody who's gone through it? Reclaim is for anybody with hormonal imbalance and going through perimenopause, as I'm going through perimenopause. And let me see, safe to use one on contraceptive pills. From what I understand, boric acid is perfectly fine to use on contraceptive pills. Part of the webinar. Yes, they will be emailed later. And all my products are at Healthy Planet as well. So let me go into the Q&A here. Okay, there we go. So hi. Okay. I have some Q&A here. I'll go through these too, if some people still want to stick around for a second. Do products interact with iron supplements? I would ask your doctor about it to make sure. I don't know what you're on, and I would never want to tell you something that would obviously harm you in any way. Can you recommend a product for painful intercourse after menopause? There's a lot of women. As I said, I was at this trade show this weekend, and a lot of women are really experiencing this. So this is obviously, not only do we need to have maybe a lubricant, but I have 3 women formulators I work with. So this should be a conversation we have, maybe looking at something that we could ingest that would also really help with lubrication too. A lot of cysts in the area. Let me know why that would be. My pH levels may be off. I would go talk to your doctor about that if you're getting cysts. I take antidepressants. You would not, yes, you wouldn't be able to take St. John's wort. In the next 6 months, we will be switching the St. John's wort out of Reclaim and putting in lion's mane, the mushroom. So that was one of the reasons being is because there are people who can't take it. And I had a little bit of concerns if a consumer is out going to buy the product and they don't have a retailer friend there to have a conversation about St. John's wort. So you stay tuned and give it about 6 months. You should see it with a little lion's mane on the cover there. Doesn't have the same, doesn't look the same. Geez, I don't know about that one. I mean, I do know there's things you can do in the sense of going in, there's surgery you can do and whatnot, but Sleeping Beauty, Reclaim and Restore. Yes, Sleeping Beauty is an awesome product. It helps with collagen production at night. So it's got L-lysine in there. Lysine is scientifically proven to really help with collagen formation. I use Sleeping Beauty. I hope I look okay. I'm 47. I'm turning 48. So it has 2 milligrams of melatonin in there, GABA and magnesium bisglycinate. And if you are somebody who really wants to sleep, Sleeping Beauty will knock you out. I don't know if that's the word I should be using, but you make it like a hot tea. There we go. So I'm just going to write down. I'm going to write down your email so I have it. Here we go. So Ruby, sorry, give me a sec, everybody. I just want to make sure I'm able to have these emails so I can connect these people, because I think once this closes, I won't have it. There we go. Okay, Rita, I will take that email of yours. And there we go. Jill, I'm going to grab your email as well for information on LS. vince@hotmail.com. Sorry, let me just tell everybody your email address. And here we go, Diane. Thank you so much, ladies. Diane, at Rogers. Okay, perfect. Sorry, everybody. Thank you for patience here. I just wanted to make sure I'm able to connect these ladies and then also email them afterwards. Let me see. I'm just looking at some of the questions here. Oh, another person, Brenda. This might be a webinar we could do then on LS. This might be something we should do. So let me look into this one, because this seems to be something that people are struggling with. And I'm going to be able to support you guys as much as I possibly can. It does not have to be used continuously. Boric acid, you can use it once and then see how it goes. And then if you're done with it, then you don't have to use it. So I finished my cycle last month, and of course, blood is more alkaline. I know it's a little bit off. I used one, I was fine. Then after that, I was done. So it just depends. I use it as I need to. So it's not something you have to use all the time. Atrophy, menopause, okay. Test your pH. I use a pad. Okay, so you could use, anybody who's experiencing a smell or a discharge that's a little bit off, you can use boric acid as well. With perimenopause, how you know you're experiencing perimenopause is all of a sudden your cycles aren't happening every 21 days. You're not getting them on a regular basis, or you're getting spotting, or some people start to experience some hot flashes. I know for myself, I just had a lot more cycle irregularity. What did I say about sleep? I talked a little bit about Sleeping Beauty. Also, what time of the day is best to take a probiotic? I think whenever you remember to take your probiotic, I think is the best time of the day to take it. Some have to be taken with food, some don't. But the best, if you remember to take it, whatever time, if you leave it on the kitchen counter and you grab your breakfast in the morning on the way out the door, that would probably be the best time to take it. And what was a little more information on Sleeping Beauty? Sleeping Beauty is a collagen support nighttime tea. Really easy to take, really delicious. It's got natural sweeteners in it. You make it like hot, like a tea at night before you go to bed. And you have the best sleep ever. When I come out to Toronto, because I am 3 hours behind, sorry. It's really hard for me to go to bed at 7 o'clock in the night, my time. So Healthy Planet carries all of Aeryon Wellness products, and all of Aeryon Wellness products are on right now sale. They're on 20% off, all on the website as well. All right, pH testing. Okay, there we go. So I think, oh, are you? Yay, Aeryon. And you liking it? That's awesome. Love it. And Aaron, you had asked a question about hot tubs. So are you talking, I wanted to make sure I got your answer as well, because I noticed that I didn't answer that. So you're in the hot tub and you're getting more kind of a bacterial vaginosis from being in the hot tub? Because oh, okay. It could actually be, I just wonder if it's maybe that's interesting. Yes, the strips are on sale as well. Let me look into that and I can get back to you. But I think the yeast infections probably would come from maybe the chemicals in the hot tub. That's what I'm kind of wondering, right? Because if we look at baking, I mean, they say baking soda can actually help lower your pH levels. So if there's something in that, the chemicals that would be lowering your pH levels, then that could be it too, right? Because then your body's not creating that high acidic level that's able to fight any bacteria. So that could be it as well, which would be a drag if you have a hot tub and you want to be outside enjoying it. So I can understand how that would be annoying. Okay, well, I don't know if there's any more questions. I'm going to kind of keep, so I'll just leave this quickly and let you all know that if you want to visit us on our newsletter, we have a newsletter on our website that comes out the 15th a month. We actually interview women doing exceptional things across Canada. We also give recipes in there, and we have a lot of information. We up to date when we have more webinars coming up. We do webinars every month through our website. So please come on over to our newsletter and visit us there. Instagram and Twitter is Aeryon Wellness. Facebook is Aeryon Wellness. YouTube is Aeryon Wellness. And my personal Instagram is Ashlie. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Sometimes in these forums, people don't feel comfortable asking questions. What I feel one of my purposes is to help out as much as I possibly can. So please feel free to shoot me a question. If I don't know the answer, I have wonderful people on staff that can help me find an answer, hopefully help find an answer for you. If taking boric acid, when should you take probiotics for vagina? I would take the boric acid, let it bring down to that pH level. So I would wait a day or so and then do the probiotics as well. You could do it that way. Will these products help even if stress is an underlying issue? Restore can help. I mean, it just depends on what the stress is too. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the first pillar is the thoughts you think, because a lot of the time, you know, I tell this to a lot of people, you can hook yourself up to all the ashwagandha in the world, but if you're having so much stress going on and if you're constantly worried, it's not really going to help much. So it's really a matter of really maybe doing some meditation, really trying to get your stress levels under control, and then having a supportive product like Restore to help guide you through that. So really looking at all facets of health and wellness. With incontinence, I use psyllium husk. We do have a fiber blend coming out called Gutsy, so keep your eye open for that. And that's a great one. I think that's about it. I think I'll close the webinar today because I think we're at, there we go. Okay, all right. Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody. As I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. All Aeryon Wellness products are on special right now. You can go online and pick them up. They're all available to buy through Healthy Planet, and they're on special until I think the next week. So they're a really great price. And as I said, thank you so much. Give me a follow if you have any questions. I'm always here to support you. And thank you so much, Healthy Planet, for having me here one more time. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.